I drive, so it was easy for me to go there. So I spent a lot of time there, and then try to motivate the teachers. I was also instrumental in helping to sort of recruit some of the teachers because I knew some people in India then.
Can you remember some of those teachers whom you recruited personally?
அப்போ வந்து what's his name? திருப்பார்கடல் ராகவன், I think, violinist, no, very old people. அவரெல்லாம் போய் அந்த மந்த வழியில் போய் அங்கே சுற்றி அடித்து I used to go and catch all these people.
Mandaveli or Mylapore?
Mandaveli and also Mylapore also. See. Then this Karakuri Krishnamurthy another thing is so அவர் வந்து he came for a performance here. Then I said look, why don't you stay back and do something? And he said okay. Then he came and joined. Shanta Ponudre. Yeah, Shanta Ponudre and Dhanandevi. Yeah, Dhanandevi. Subaya. Now is with, yeah, so Dhanandevi Subaya. Of course, now she's Dhanandevi Midradeva, I think. She got married. She's, I think, in the States or somewhere now. So Shanta and all these people. Then he started the classes in a small way, and then he began to catch up, And I think mainly the Indian expatriates, they were more keen and interested. They were quite knowledgeable also when they came from India. More than knowledge, they were really interested in the arts.
When it started like as a result of some enthusiastic people who preserve the arts.
Correct.
When did it really become an academy?
Academy, அதில் இருக்குது அந்த புக்கில் இருக்குது. I think in 1959 I say. Just let me have this book, I think.
In about 10 years' time, we wanted to grow in such as an academy.
Yeah.
I'll ask you the question again.
Yeah.
So, okay. I can understand 1949 was like the immediate years following the war. So it started as sort of an aspiration of your art.
Yeah.
But when do you think it really became an academy?
Academy, அதான் அதில் இருக்கிற 1956, they wanted to formalize the thing, It was just an ad hoc thing. They formalized it and then they formed an academy. Then they began to regularize and then have a proper syllabus and things like that, for the various disciplines, like dance, vocal. I think there's some books also there, vocal, and then dance, and then originally a man called Jatli, he was passing by. Then we just got hold of him and then he came and started teaching a little bit. And that's where Mrs. Radhika Pikachu learned earlier, Then after that, we started recruiting from India. Then we got Krishnamurthy was a very great help, because he knew most of the musicians and then he used to give the contact. And I used to go there and then talk to them because most of them are frightened to come over, leave your wife and children and all. I used to assure them not to worry about all these things, we will look after you. And we have got accommodation and things like that. So
you have contributed a lot to CIFAS.
Yeah.
I remember your name as being synonymous with the organization.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me some of the challenges you must have faced, in terms of the plays.
Sorry?
Some of the challenges you faced, in the initial years of CIFAS as an academy.
Challenges was actually funds are very important, that was a crucial thing. But fortunately, the National Arts Council was very helpful, and we appealed to them, and they gave us some grants. And also the Shaw Foundation also helped us. I think they are still continuing to contribute some money every year. And so with that, it was easier for us to, recruit people. And also, fortunately, the government was very supportive,
Sorry, uncle.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Can you on this side for the Shaw Foundation? Anyone else you want to mention?
Well, Shaw Foundation, of course, the government was giving us, these are the two main benefactors. But we started off with one or two teachers first. It was a very ad hoc manner in which it was taught. Then they wanted to regularize the whole thing, and then they formed what is called the academy. I think the very important person there was Mr. Harris, and Dr. V.S. Rajan. There's the book of yeah. So there was these people, and I was also in the committee. I think Mrs. Radhika Karthikeyan also was there. And then we sat down and then decided to form the academy. Then they started preparing the syllabus. I think we got in touch with, who was it? மறதி ரொம்ப ஜாஸ்தியாக இருக்கு. மெட்ராஸ் யூனிவர்சிட்டி.
Can you say that? We got it?
Yeah.
Say we got in touch with?
Yeah, we got in touch with Madras University, and they helped us to formulate the syllabus, And then once the syllabus was this thing, it was formalized and it was regularized and all that. And then we started having different classes, 1, 2, 3 and all that. So then we instituted a proper examination system, and when we had the we used to bring external examiners, from India, Somya and a few other people used to come here, and
you had a very good tie-up with Kalakshetra.
Yeah, Kalakshetra. Yeah, very close.
We had a very good tie-up.
Yeah, we had a very good tie-up with Kalakshetra, and they helped us a lot too. And Somya and
Leela Samson.
Leela, sorry. You seem to know better, man. Because I have lost my memory. Yeah, Leela Samson and all that. They came and formalized the syllabus. And then the academy was formed. Then we had an inauguration, and at the time it was Mr. Rajaratnam, who was the Minister for Culture. He came and inaugurated the academy. And then
S.R. Nathan was also quite significant. Sorry, not S.R. Nathan, even before him, Devan Nair.
Yeah, Devan Nair.
How is Devan Nair associated with the growth of the academy?
Yes. He was instrumental in. Devan Nair was instrumental in also getting us the premises, at the time. Because we had a lot of difficulties, housing the place. But he was the one, I think, I remember one day, they asked us to get out, and then I went to see him. He was,
Which premise?
Sorry?
Which premise were you told to leave?
No, we were in Rumah Miskin.
Can you say that?
We were in Rumah Miskin. And then the government said, gave us some notice and asked us to quit. So I went to see.
Sorry, one more. Can we close the door? Can I just mitigate some noise? Sorry, Uncle.
No, that's okay.
Can you start again? Say if you were in Rumah Miskin. Start.
Sorry?
We were in Roma Miskin.
Yeah, we were in Roma
Stuff
Miskin.
like that. And
Yeah, we were in Roma Miskin. And then the classes were going on then the government wanted us to quit the place. You see. So I went to see Dr. Devan Nair. I went to see him. It was around about 5 o'clock, evening, 4:45. Went to see him and I told him, I said, we are having this problem. So he immediately rang up. At that time I think it was Chua Sen Chin, I think, who was the Minister for Culture, I think. He rang up, and then I think, the secretary answered, and he said,
close the door. Please close. Yeah, lock it.
yeah, you can lock it.
Or put some weight.
No, there's a lock there. The one, that's right. Yeah, it's locked. So I went to see him.
1 second. Okay, thank you.
So I went to see him.
Wait. And go.
They asked us to quit the place. So I went to see Mr. Devan Nair. That was at about 4:45 in the evening. Then
was he the president then?
Huh?
Was he the president?
No. He was just an advisor, sort of advisor.
No, president of Singapore at the time. Was he in office? Was it after?
No. He was then, I think, trade union chief, I think.
Okay.
No,
so can you say Mr. Devan Nair, he was then the trade union chief?
Trade,
and
yeah.
member of parliament.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it
That's,
okay, never mind.
Okay. Anyway,
Okay.
so I went to see him, and then it was a fight. I remember the incident very vividly because it was around 4:45. I went to see him, and then he said, "Okay, what's the problem?" I said, "This is the problem." He immediately rang up Chua Sen Chin, who was then the Minister for Culture. Then they said he's not around. So he said, what the hell, what time is he supposed to go? He's very outspoken chap, very brave chap. Then he said, then immediately I think the secretary got in touch with him somewhere. And then he came on the line and then he said, this is a problem with these people. Then he said, okay, he asked him to ask. The Chua Sen Chin told me to go and see him in the next morning, 9 o'clock. So I went to the office. So I went to the office, he gave me a letter. He said, no, look, we are giving you the place indefinitely, without any this thing at the time. Later they removed that clause. He said, no, so that's how we got the premises, at Roma Miskin. Then of course there is a housing scheme, for cultural organizations. I think they have one or two places for the Chinese or somewhere in Talakaya, that's right. I hear you know some, Talakaya.
Stanford South.
Yeah, that's right. Stanford and all, that's right. So those will come under the housing scheme. So under the housing scheme, we got the place. So that's why when they asked us to go away from the place, then there was one clause, that they should give us an alternate place before you ask you to go out. Then of course they proposed quite a lot of places, and then schools and all that, and that's how we got Rangoon Road School. See? We got the school, and it was very helpful, and it was a very spacious place with a lot of rooms and all that, and it was very essential for us to house the people. There again, there were a lot of restrictions, but of course people like Devan Nair and all that, they told the chap, and it means Dandamadal and all, they were very, very helpful. I think he was the minister for what?
He was the deputy prime minister.
He was deputy prime minister and also minister for land or something, So Dandamadal. Then he said, no, you cannot ask them to go out like that. You got to give them alternate place, and that's how they gave us the Rangoon Road School.
Professor J. Kumar was involved.
Oh, J. Kumar was also, yes, he was also involved in this. Okay, that's yeah. I remember the incident. I went to see Dhanapal, and then Dhanapal rang up. Lucky you remind me. He rang up with Jay Kumar and said, "Hey, what is this? He's having a problem, because he was in land. What's the problem?" Jay Kumar said, "No. What is it? They're asking them to quit the place." So he said, "No.
Which place is this?
Ruma Biskin, that police station." So asked me to quit. So he said, "Okay." Then he said, asked me to come and see me. So I went the next morning. I went to Ministry of Culture. But when I went there, they had the letter ready. They said, "No, you can have it for." There was no stipulation. The period was not stipulated.
There's no fixed tenure.
No fixed tenure.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a audio. Yeah. Okay. It's fine. But so you went to see the Minister for Culture at that point in time, Mr. Shaw.
Though I went to see Mr. Dhanapal, and then he rang up.
No, you said you went to see Devan Nair.
Oh yeah, I went to see Devan Nair first, and then Devan Nair, of course, spoke to him straight away. That's very interesting. As I told you, it was 4:45 or something like that. And then he said, the secretary told him, he said, "What the hell is this? Where is he? What time are you supposed to go out?" I mean, Devan Nair was a very powerful man. He could just speak to anybody and get things done.
So that's how we came to Rangoon Road.
Yeah, that's how he came to Rangoon Road School.
Okay, we got that part. Some of the community leaders who were influential in the operation of SIFAs or the growth of SIFAs. You want to mention them?
Sorry?
Some of the community leaders, like Professor Jay Kumar.
Oh, Professor Jay Kumar.
Yeah, some patrons.
Yeah. Of course, Dhanapal, Professor Jay Kumar, and who else?
Who are the political leaders or the community leaders who were instrumental or who contributed significantly towards academy?
Academy.
Yeah. Who would you like to recall by way of thanking them?
Oh, it was mainly with Dhanapal and Jay Kumar only, because these are the people who had some empathy for the Tamils. Not really Tamil, even for the arts and all that.
One final question. What is your wish for the academy? I mean, you are one of the pillars of the academy. We are going to celebrate 75 years next year. What is your wish? Give one your wish, your blessings.
Oh. No,
Your hand here.
Okay. Yeah.
I want a good message from you.
No, we have to build this. You see, when they used to make fun. People used to make fun. It's a what do you call, fine arts society. It's more for the elite and all that. So we wanted to get rid of that sort of thing, and then go into the general community and try to encourage them to come in. You see. And that is where, because the fees was quite high, and then that's why the funding was very necessary. So we had to get lots of funds so that the classes could be subsidized, and then open up to the ordinary people so that they can come in and learn the art or get an appreciation of the thing. And also we had to build up. I was also very keen on performances, not only performances of the students and the teachers, but we also invite artists from India and all and come down, and that is where the what do you call
the community
They
participation.
call the ICCR, Indian Institute of Cultural Relations in India, Delhi based, and they were very helpful. So when we write to them, they'll sponsor this, people to come down. The sponsor means they will pay the air passage, and also I think they gave some money. I mean, it's all small amounts, like, but then we looked after hospitality and everything, accommodation. That time, of course, we had accommodation in the society itself.
Some of the personalities who have come, maybe Zakir Hussain.
Oh, Zakir Hussain, Amjad Ali Khan, and
Padma.
sorry, Padma Subramaniam, yeah, Padma Subramaniam. Yeah, I can't forget her.
Aruna.
Aruna Sairam. Most of the top people, in the arts, they had come. And also some of them, they started their career, overseas career, in Fine Arts Society. Like Sheshang, he came as a small boy.
The flautist.
He came with his father as a small boy. Then slowly he got interested. Gave him a chance, he gave most of the Unni Krishnan, most of these artists, we gave them opportunities when they were very young, to perform in.
TVG.
Huh?
Gopalakrishnan, TVG.
Yeah, TVG, yeah, that's right. You seem to know. I mean, I've lost my memory, like, I got to go through the
No,
book.
we'll script it.
Yeah, script there. Yeah. So we brought in these people and gave them an opportunity for them to perform here. And that was their first overseas experience. And after that, they became giants, I mean, they are very grateful also. They always tell us, you gave us this opportunity to exposure, overseas exposure. They can use that as a sort of a credential and then go
I
for.
think you built a very good relationship with these icons from India. Because today, if I go and if I visited Priyadashini Govind,
Yeah.
if I meet Aruna, or, Sijit Krishna, all of them know Sifas.
Yeah.
Talk about the need to establish that.
Sorry?
Relationship. The need to establish this relationship. Talk about your efforts in trying to get in touch with these people.
No, of course, I mean, the introductions are very important, that people like, as I told you, people like Krishnamurti and all that. He knew those people very well, intimately. So he will put in a word and then after that I will follow up. And that's how I go there and then I will hunt them. And then the Mandavali Lampu, get all the dancers, Bharatanatyam dancers and violinists and all the instrumentalists and all that. And then, of course, they were fighting to come to Singapore, because some of them don't like to leave India, So I used to give them some assurance, don't worry, there are a lot of people to look after, your friends are there and all that. And that's how I got them to come down.
Uncle, one final thing. Can you give us your wish for the academy?
Wish for the academy?
Yeah. What is your wish? How do you want to see you have been so instrumental, a very, very important part of history. So, we're very happy to get
I think the most important thing is, while essentially it's a teaching institute, Yeah, it's a teaching institute, but I think they also should concentrate on the performance. And because, children who come there, not only the children, the parents like to see their children, perform. See? So you must give them a lot of opportunity for that sort of thing. And at the same time, sponsor them, for some overseas. We have done that also. We collaborated with some people in Madras and all that. And our troupe went there and performed and all that. And that sort of thing is very important, that is, that motivates them. And that's one thing. And secondly, you must get that that perception that it is a sort of an elitist thing, that perception must be destroyed. because it is an art that came from the soil, the Kutadi and all the rest of it, and that's how it developed, slowly. So we should go back to them. So we should try to make it a little easier for the lay people, to come in and say that's how you can instill the culture back to them. They have the culture, but there is no opportunity for them, to see. Most importantly, to see first, and then to participate. So I think the performances are very important, and try to invite as many people as possible. And it should not be ticketed or anything like that, and it should be sort of free, this thing. Get some very good venues, have some very good programs. And the accompanies are very important also, not the performers. If it is dance, the accompanies are very important. So you give them also an opportunity to sort of perform. And in that way you must spread this quickly. I think that's the main thing. You got to bring it into the public eye, make it visual and audio. They can hear and see. And once they begin to this thing, and then you must also have good commentators. You must have people who can comment on the thing so that it is understandable. People should understand the gestures, the movement, and what it means, and all that. Because it's a very culturally oriented stuff. And also the commentators should be able to comment, and I mean it's very essential for the costumes. The costume designing must be good, because that's one thing that we concentrate in the Fine Arts Society. Paka costumes, and the jewelry, and that sort of thing, and very important, because visually, people must see this, because it's after all what it is, beauty. You must appreciate beauty. That's how you get into the arts. So melody and beauty, these are the things that you must inculcate, and try to sell this to the people, get them, because a lot of people are not, we must try to interested. It is there, we have a tremendous culture behind us, very unique, very, very unique. There are lots of quotations I can't remember now. Even great people have commented, even Westerners have commented that is something very beautiful to see, and something that is very, at the same time, is very spiritual. And there's no sort of licentiousness or anything of the sort. So that sort of thing you should bring it. But more important is to bring it to the public. And how do you do that? You must simplify it. And as I said, the commentaries are very important. People can understand. Otherwise, they think, what is all this? They don't seem to know. So you got to educate the public a little bit more, and get them more to come. And the large section of the people are left out, because you must not make it too expensive also, because you go there to study, you have to pay the fees and things like that. And the time factor must make that things must be organized in such a way that you don't intrude more into the time, so that you have afternoon classes or night classes, so that their own classes, school classes, for the students especially, and also for the adults also, it's easier for them to come in the evenings to sort of thing. So a lot of organization is necessary, to look into this sort of thing, to draw them into the thing. But the commentaries are very important. Somebody who can put it very simply to them.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Use your hands.
Yeah.
Okay. So Sandhya, next year, it is the 75th year of CIFAS, and 7 decades. And tell me, what are the milestones that we have crossed in this on this journey?
Well, I came into CFAS in 1980. As soon as I came into Singapore, I was very fortunate to know both one of the founding members of CFAS, Mr. G.S. Ramachandran, and his nephew, Dr. V.S. Rajan, who both actively worked for CFAS, and they have built up in some way in their own ways. So I was very fortunate to be associated with from 1980. But from what I hear about the milestones in the early parts, I think it's mostly testimonial from what I read and heard from other people. One of the biggest, I think, it started, as we all know, as a ground up initiative of a few people who felt there was need a society to perpetuate Indian culture and arts, and especially within their own family, and create a platform for performance, etc. What started off as a very informal, casual association became soon grew in momentum, as I would say, and they had a lot of visiting artists coming at those days, coming to Singapore, Malaya as they were called, and so this became quite a strong forum for people to meet and associate, especially for the Indian community. By 1959, I think they realized there was a need to have a teaching arm to this association, and in 1959, when PAP formed its independent government, Mr. S. Rajaratnam became the Minister of Culture, and he inaugurated the Academy of Fine Arts. It was called the Academy of Fine Arts. And thereafter, they soon started having teachers coming. Most of them would be local teachers, and some would come from Johor and teach the students. By 1965, they found the cohort was increasing. What started off as only 3 students initially grew in number, and by 1965 there was a need to have a regular classes, and that I think was a big milestone for CFAS, because that is the reason why this institution has grown.
So you talked about.
So that's how it started.
Yeah. So Rajaratnam, can you start with that?
Okay. It was in 1959.
Forget the camera. Don't ever look at the camera. Okay. Go back.
Ongla Pakran, yeah, that's right. That's what I want.
And go.
It was in 1959 that it was then known as IFAS, because it was only in 1962 that they became Singapore Indian Fine Arts Society, and they decided there was a need to have a regular teaching arm to their this organization. So they it was in 1959 when PAP formed its independent government. Mr. S. Rajaratnam was then the Minister of Culture, and he inaugurated the Academy of Fine Arts. And there, that's how the teaching side of CFAS grew. And up till 1965, they used to manage with local teachers, and some would even come from Johor to teach, and that's how they managed. But then soon they found that there was an increase in the cohort, so they started to get good teachers who were trained under some doyens in India, and brought them over and started teaching Bharatanatyam, vocal and violin, and Mridangam, of course. And there used to be husband and wife couple which served their they used very well, because one would teach one faculty, the another faculty, and so it kind of grew and it became a residential school. Couple, the initial first one was Shankari Krishnan and and her husband V. Krishnan came from India, and they started Bharatanatyam, vocal and Mridangam classes. Then of course a few other people followed. Among them was Vasanta and Narasimhachari came for a while, and then we had a series of teachers of there. And so after some time, they found that they needed to have a place to have the teaching classes. So they were looking for a building, and they had their first one was in St. Michael's Estate. So St. Michael's period was when they had rented St. Michael's is where they had their first school, a residential school, and students will come there, and then soon it became a little difficult, because I think the neighborhoods felt there were too much of noise coming from classes and etc., being a small housing. So then they had decided to look for locations, and then they moved towards the east to Bournemouth Road, then they went on to Branksome Road, and there was a constant search for looking, because as the number of students expanded and faculties got introduced, more teachers came in, so they were looking for bigger places And in fact, I'll come to that about the challenges later, but this was how one of the milestone has been building up this the teaching arm of Singapore Indian Fine Arts Society, different from just the performance wing. That is one of the milestones. The other milestone would have been when they started doing productions. Earlier they used to be having a lot of productions, small ones. Arangetram were mostly done at that time, and then they had
Which time period?
in the
So you can start this section by saying between this year and this year.
Okay, between 60s to 70s there was a a sudden spurt of Arangetrams, because they had trained a few students who were interested to dance and to they had finished their formal training according to their gurus, and so they were ready to be launched. So they did their debut performances. That was the kind of performances they had. Then they had visiting artists who would come, and then they would also perform, and and soon in around end 1970, I would say early 80s, they realized there was a need to have regular production by our students, so that they could showcase their talents, and they could also tell the community how the good work that CFAS was doing in developing and promoting arts. And it also attracted a lot of attention from the other ethnic groups who were keen to come in and learn, because they found this was a very good institution to learn from. So this became, there was suddenly a spurt in the development, in the number of programs that we had in CFAS. Started off Ramanatakam was one of the done by Dhananjayans. Then after that came Ragadhwani, came folk rhythms. Then there was also Pancha Mahabhuta by Professor Chandrasekhar. So there was a series of programs that took place, and 80s I would say was a very vibrant time, and suddenly we were going to halls like Singapore Cultural Theatre, World Trade Center, and performing in those places. Jubilee Theatre, the Raffles Hotel had a called Jubilee Theatre, where we had a lot of performances by our own students, music, dance, and such programs. So that is how it took off, and that was an important milestone. This other milestone I could definitely talk about is the coming of the festival. Now we had a platform for these things to happen. So now a time came when we wanted to replicate the kind of festivals that were happening in India, where people, very eminent artists came and performed, and scope was also given to local artists to perform in the same event, and also for the students to perform. So it was a kind of a very nice place to bring in the best.
Sorry, audio.
Yeah.
Start with the festival.
Start with the festival. So in
1 second. And go.
in 2003, the idea of having a festival was mooted by some of our committee members, because they wanted to replicate what was happening in Chennai.
And
Somewhere in 2003, some of our MC members mooted the idea of having a festival, something very similar to what happens in Chennai, so to replicate it in Singapore. Now this was an excellent idea, because this gave people here in the audience in Singapore to watch eminent artists who were invited to come and perform here, and they also had local artists performing for over the 15-day period or 21 days period initially, and they also the students performing. So it kind of gave everybody a chance to get part and create a festive atmosphere. So I think that was a very good initiative, and that and with that I think a lot of donors and benefactors came in to support, because they saw that there was merit in doing a festival like this in Singapore, and NAC and other government bodies also supported it, because it was a very good initiative. So that's how the festival developed. That's one big milestone. The other milestone that I can think of after this has happened is of course the Kalaratna. Kalaratna is an important feature of CFAS, because there's a committee that selects the people who have contributed to arts and who have done tremendous work, and they have kind of given developed the art in Singapore. So to such people, a Kalaratna award is given as and when there's the candidate, suitable candidate is found, and that was one of the features. The other one has been, sorry, there's one more thing. Just give me 1 minute. One was Kalaratna, the other one was, yeah, just give me the fan. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. I was going to say something else, Kalaratna. Oh, sorry, Namaskar. You finished with they finished with the Kalaratna. Kalaratna, and there was one more thing that concerned. I lost my thought over here.
Okay, so there was, you talked about performance festivals, Kalaratna, you talked about.
Yeah, the other milestone has also been that we took students from Singapore.
1 second.
The other milestone has been that we took students from Singapore to perform in Chennai and gave them a chance to be featured in Singapore, in Chennai, so where they could also showcase our talent here, and they also got a chance to be exposed to the best in Chennai. So they got a kind of an immersion there, in the festivals in Chennai. So that was an important thing that happened in that period. Of course, when the COVID came, I think that was the biggest.
Let's go to the challenge.
That was also a milestone, I would say. Technology, where I think there were hitherto the pedagogy had. When COVID came in, I mean, it was posed a lot of. Now, the next milestone I would say is when COVID hit Singapore. It may be seen as a challenge. We'll talk about that later, but I think it was also an opportunity where we embraced technology to make it viable for the teachers to reach out to the students at home, and that kept the spirit of the people going, as also it was a change in the pedagogy, I would say, because now with the teacher and student sitting in front of each other was the traditional way of learning any art, but it could also be done online and people accepted it, and so that provided another opportunity. It also increased the visibility of CFAS, and I think that was also a big milestone to seize the opportunity, as they say, and make use of it. So we never in CFAS thought of it as a problem, but as yet another opportunity. Yeah, I think what is the thing that I missed out? I don't know. What was it? Oh. You're just going to take 1 or 2 important bites. Yeah. I know. This is more or less what.
Yes. Here's something. Please use this. Okay.
Yeah.
Longevity often is the sign of people, organizations overcoming challenges. Otherwise, they would have wilted and withered away, right? But you're going to turn 100 in about 25 years,
Yes.
which is no mean feat.
Yeah.
So, but you must have faced many challenges along the way. Recall for us a few. Recall for us a few of these challenges, important ones. Threaten probably the existence of the organization.
Yes, I mean, it is marvelous that an organization has withstood the tests of time, as they say, for 75 years, and we are also looking at 100 years in another matter of time. Our next generation is going to celebrate the centenary. It's indeed has been possible because the initiative has come from the community.
Sorry. What is that? What is it that?
Somebody switched on the car over there.
Can you increase your gain?
Yeah.
Oh, drilling, is it? Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, we talked about. Okay. So, what are the challenges? You can come directly because I have the.
Yeah. Okay.
And
The challenges that CFAS has faced has been many from time to time, and I think it is because of its relevance to time. First, I think one of the challenges that CFAS faced was getting teachers to come in from India and helping them to make Singapore their home. So that was one of the challenges CFAS had, because most of them either came leaving their rest of the family behind in India, and to dedicate their time for to the teaching curriculum. Oh, what happens is I have to start. Let me start with the thing.
okay.
One of the challenges that Fine Arts had in the early days was to bring in teachers from India and make them comfortably settled in Singapore, so that they could work, concentrate on their work. Now many of them left their home and came here, so it was like they did teach and they put their 100% into teaching, but they never felt that Singapore was home, so they have to go back. So this is something that the committee had to manage from time to time, and we have had a lot of transfer of teachers going back and getting new one, because that is the kind of the passes or the employment contracts on which they come. So that has always been a challenge when we have had heavy turnover of teachers. The other main challenge that fine arts had was finding a home. That was very important, because with the growth of students, with new faculties being introduced, with more teachers coming in, more classes have to be opened up, they needed obviously bigger venue. So
it's still a challenge.
It's still a challenge. It's going to be a challenge till we get a permanent home. And not being able to find a permanent home has been CFAS's main challenge, I would say, over the years. But how did they overcome? That's the message, is somehow the community has rallied around it, and somehow the government also finds the need to help out.
Sophia, sorry, I need you to go and convince that man not to do his work while we are doing ours.
Is mine the only one outside, or you've done others also?
Others also.
Others also.
You're not punishing you.
Huh?
I need some variety of backdrops.
Yeah, no, I thought. I thought normally you do this studio in Indo with the different backdrops at the back, bouquets and
the premises, right?
right.
So look at how. Okay.
Wait.
So we
Has
talked
this
about
sari been all the while? Are you doing a close up or?
It's short. It's not short. Don't worry. Okay. One other challenge. Let's go. And
Where was I?
we talked about a permanent home, that being one challenge. The final one is also.
Yeah. One of the challenges has also been finding a home. The other challenge, I would say, has been constantly money, which is a challenge in any endeavor you do. You need that constant cash flow, and you make sure that you have students coming in. You need the economies of scale because of the operating costs going up. So you have to find new and innovative ways to make sure that we have be able to do though our organization is a not-for-profit organization, but the operating costs everywhere is going up. So that is a challenge that CFAS faces from time to time. Money has been one of the issues, but thankfully I think CFAS has been blessed that whenever they feel that things may not be going north, but someone will come there and help them out. So I think we live on hope, and the fact that fine arts will be able to go from strength to strength, because it's a ground up initiative, and we are hopeful of that. Okay, thank you.
Some things must register, something must come to the foreground of your memory.
It took some time, before I became involved. Primarily because it's, the attachment to the arts, especially CFAS, the work that CFAS does. It has had a long history. And I used to visit with, whenever my sister she was already involved, you see, and I used to come with her and
Sorry, sir. May have to inconvenience you a bit. Yeah, better.
You want him to sit a little bit upright, sir?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you want to position him?
No, sit. Yeah. Better?
oh, great.
Sorry that we have to manhandle you this way.
Not to worry.
Okay.
Okay, you're good to go.
So
Can we
I
start with a year so that we can sort of.
well,
Okay, look at me.
let me talk about
Yeah, the
my involvement with Indian music,
Yes,
especially the classics.
sure.
We come from a family, and not merely a family, my relatives as well, of people who are devoted to.
1 second, sir, sorry.
Yeah.
Forget the camera.
Yeah.
Just me. And,
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
And go.
We come from not merely a family, a number of families, in fact, who were involved in the classics, the South Indian classics primarily, especially in music and the dance. So when I became conscious, I was, I think, somewhere around about age 15. Now that is going through Japanese occupation, you know. During the Japanese occupation, my father had sent my sister, the whole family, to KL, you know, because of security reasons as to whether Singapore was going to be safe or not. See? So we stayed with my uncle, and they were very strong, you know, in the classics, and that's where we became inured, you see.
And how did Sifas happen in your life?
Sifas came in later, much later. That's post-war, really. During the Japanese occupation, I knew nothing about Sifas, and there was, I don't think there was Sifas in Singapore at that time, none. So we, whatever we, you know, we imbibed, you know, so far as classical music is concerned, was acquired in Kuala Lumpur, you know, in KL. And KL, they had very strong institutions.
He started Sifas in 1949.
That's right, yes.
Were you part of that
No.
inception?
No. I became involved really in 1960, 67 or 68. I'd gone to university in UK and come back, and then I got into politics, and I was busy with, you know, all that work, you see. And in the process of my political work, culture became important, you know, for the community that that you represented.
S. Rajaratnam was the Minister of Culture at the time.
That's right, yes.
You want to talk about his participation, his role?
Radhi's participation, I can talk a lot, you know,
Yes.
because she well, she was quite young, you know, when
Maybe you could sort of contextualize it for us by saying that my family, your ties, the family had long ties with Sifas, like my sister. If you started that way, then it's easy for us to. Yeah. I'm sorry I'm coaching you.
no, not to worry. Sifas was already there by the time I became conscious of its existence, and that was somewhere around about 1967, 68. And even then I was a little shy, you know, of becoming involved, you know. But a lot of my friends were already doing a lot of good work. And I think they were putting pressure on me to say that, you know, why don't you become involved as well, due to the fact that, you know, I was having a political background, you see, and that was going to be helpful. So I said, fine, let's give it a shot, and that's how I became involved, you see.
So you're a committee member?
I was started off as a committee member, yes. Take some time. And the work is fascinating, you know, because as we went deeper into it, we thought the quality of the work.
Well, what was your fascination about?
It was music primarily, because during the Japanese occupation, when in KL especially, you see, with my uncle's family, music was very strong, you know, and I was already learning how to sing and that kind of thing, you see. So, and once you get a feel for for the music. It's quite how do I put it? It's you can't escape it. And the next step was actually becoming involved with CIFAS.
You know, that period, they started in 49, you came in some 15 years later or so. That was more or less the time when they became an academy as well, I think. Before that it was just an association that had some performances, people got together, those who had an affection for the arts, like-minded families. But as an academy, I think it was in the 60s that it took shape, or it took they saw it befitting to become an academy and then teach people these arts. Talk to me about that phase when you were becoming an academy.
Well, in the initial stages, I had little to do with the.
Sorry, sir. You can place your hand a bit comfortably. Because, yeah, it looks a bit stiff.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's good.
It took some time for me to become involved with the academy, because there were stalwarts, who were already doing very, very good work.
And who are we talking about?
Sachi is one of them. There are,
Rajan?
yes. It was a fairly large team.
There was Mr. Ishwaran.
Yes. Well, actually, you can mention the names and what
No,
but
I'm just helping you.
No, do.
Yeah.
Please help,
Yeah.
because I
Yes.
tend to forget
So it all
some
started
names.
with Mr. Ishwaran, lending his house for people to perform.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we were actually working in people's homes, really, you see. And then, of course, we looked around for premises, and the government was helpful, quite helpful. That's how we got these premises.
I heard David Nair was instrumental.
He had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, can you talk about that?
Well, because of his stature in politics
Yeah.
and
So
involvement.
My question is not part of your response. So if you can say David Nair was instrumental, if you could contextualize it easy.
He was involved in a deep sense, because he used to talk to people like me first, to find out more about what CIFAS is doing and what kind of an organization is it, and how serious. And so we have had chat from time to time. We had chat, and then we involved Durban, into our activities ourselves. He used to come, and he was largely involved in getting government support for the work that we were doing. Right. And the fact that I was already in politics as well, you see, it made it easier. And after that, things took. I found it very enjoyable, really, you see.
I think one of the biggest challenges that you may, or the organization may have faced is getting a permanent home. So
Yes.
this is like the cat and the kitten. You
True.
carry your wherewithal from
Place to place, you see.
place.
That is true.
Yeah. But something held despite the shifts, despite the changes, despite the coming and going of teachers. Something sort of gelled and stayed. Tell me what is it?
What really gelled, in the final analysis, what really gelled was
I think if you can use the word CIFAS would be good. Then we know.
What
Sorry, can we do that again?
really gelled.
Yeah. In the final, you start with in the final analysis.
As I said, most of our activities were carried out in people's homes, you know, and it was quite a burden, you know, for them. And finally, we, through, you know, government involvement, you know, we got premises to call it our home, really, you see, like today's premises. When that was achieved, then the rest of it was, you know, took its normal course.
You know, to your credit, will you say that CIFAS brought the arts to the masses?
To the masses.
Or is there still this elitism that we have to mitigate?
It was still the elitism, really.
Okay.
It took some time, you know.
You're saying the beginning. Maybe you start that way.
I would say that so far as the elitism is concerned, that was a minority interest by and large. But the cultural base was very strong through the films, through, you know, popular music and things like that. And then, of course, when the intellectuals became involved, they took a serious interest, you know, and to find out, you know, what is the foundation of, you know, of Indian culture, you see. And we found to see that the culture, the structure of the culture was so strong and so attractive. And we were able to, you know, to get more and more people, the younger ones, you know, to become interested. And where we are today now, you see.
Something telling about the demography of the members. It's largely, or rather, I wouldn't say demography, but cross-sectionally speaking, most of them are professionals. A lot of them are professionals.
Yes.
Talk to me about it. How did it come to be? So the question is, how did CIFAS attract a lot of professionals who have to manage career and the arts as well?
Especially Western educated professionals.
Maybe you'd like to start by saying CIFAS attracted. That will help me edit.
Well, how do I put it now? Historically, I think there was a group of professionals, especially
Forget the camera, sir.
especially in
Sorry, one more time. Can you start from where you started again?
right, so far as, I mean, from my perspective, a group of professionals from the South Indian community primarily, who took a deep interest.
South Indian and Sri Lankan.
Yeah, Sri Lankan and South, the Sri Lankan community, you know, small as we are, we had a lot to do with it, you see. And so we did a lot of work concentrating on the classics. And then when the intellectuals went away and returned from the university, they decided to take a deeper look at what CIFAS, you know, institutions like CIFAS are doing. And that's when we had a lift, virtually, you see, from
And that attracted a lot of professionals.
a lot of professionals that came in, yes. And
But interesting how they choose to come despite the demands of their jobs. And
well, that was not too much of a bother, really. You see, the jobs that we were doing, for example, gave us the strength, to do what we wanted to do. Now, basically, I think so far as organizations like CIFAS were concerned, the inspiration came from the South Indian intellectual community. The Jaffna Tamils, Indian Tamils, Indian Telugus and whatnot. It took some time, for us to, establish contact with the North Indian community. Now, they were doing a lot of work themselves, but it was not so clear, right? We always got the impression that the North Indian attachment to classics was a little I wouldn't say superficial, but it's not strong enough. And then after a while, when it just swelled, and so we approached them, we became involved with what North Indian music as well. And today I think we are in a good state.
Now you are a trustee of this organization. I'm going to ask you one last question. You certainly must have harbored a vision for this school. By sheer association and involvement all these years. If I were to ask you, if those visions have held through all these years, and if you have achieved whatever all of you set out to do, where are you on that mission?
Well, it's the strength that we have achieved is, I would say, quite satisfactory. It's a question of integrating the younger generation as they come into the market, and that I think is taking place.
Are you happy?
I'm happy. I'm very happy, in fact.
With the way CIFAS has evolved?
Evolved, and is evolving as well. And I made it very clear to them. You see, well, look, I've already made my contribution. There's no point in my lingering. You see, but I would like to come and enjoy the work that you people are doing. You see, and I'm quite satisfied.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very kind of you.
Indeed.